Yeah, thank you for joining me, Dr. Jason W. Morrison, theologist, New South Wales, Australia. Baby on hospice, blood transfusion, and Jehovah Witnesses. This was on the 9th of January this year. A little bit late on this one, but we'll go to the story. Are blood transfusions compulsory during some health issues such as jaundice and surgery? Some medical experts say yes, but instances quoted by Jehovah Witnesses have proven otherwise, writes Chineka Okoro. Mr. and Mrs. Emmanuel on hospice did not plan to have a baby with jaundice, but not long after, Mrs. Hospice was delivered of her baby by doctors at a private hospital in Sorelli. Sorry, I can't pronounce that, but the baby was discovered to be jaundiced. The doctors described that the newborn be given urgent blood transfusion for survival, and all hell broke loose. The parents are Jehovah Witnesses and are forbidden from taking blood transfusions. So they refused Massey Street Children's Hospital doctors' advice that the baby needed blood to survive. A member of the public took interest in the case and obtained a court order mandating the parents to allow the transfusion. On Tuesday, police and office officials of the Lagos state government ensured the order was carried out. The Office of the Police Defender was given the right to cater for the baby. The OPD said the agency swung into action immediately, got the relevant court order by invoking relevant sections of the Lagos Child's Rights Law of 2015 and Lagos State Safeguarding and Children Protection Policy of 2016, in collaboration with the Nigerian police. The baby was eventually evacuated from the parents' home after stiff resistance from other mobilised members of the Jehovah Witnesses on December 30 last year. OPD Director, Mrs. You can work out how to pronounce that, told the nation that doctors succeeded in administering life-saving blood to the baby with the help of the police, who kept the parents and the sect members of the parents at bay. The baby had become so emaciated, every child has a right to survive. And this lady said the baby would be returned to the parents if they want to take the child back. The child still needs a mother. This is the horribleness of the Jehovah Witnesses blood doctrine. The case of the baby who weighed 2.2 kilograms at birth and weighed less than 1.7 kilograms after being kept at home for 1 week and 5 days by the recalcitrant parents has renewed debates about blood transfusion. Why Jehovah Witnesses are against blood transfusion, and you can go into the nonsense of all that. And there's myths and facts and all the rest of it. But I'm going to go over to Kim and Mikey's channel now, where they have a video they've just brought out, and I've posted a prior video which Kim recommended on this wicked subject of the Jehovah Witness cult and their satanic blood doctrine. This is Dr. Jason W. Morrison, theologist. Bye for now.
Everybody.
Howdy.
Oh my goodness.
But before we get going to this, I have a little brain teaser for you.
What?
Memory serves me right, wasn't it? Governing body member Jeffrey Jackson pretty much admitted that they know the name Jehovah is not God's name. They just went with what was popular.
It's in their literature, it's in their Bible, and I believe he said that on a JW broadcast a couple of years ago.
So if they admit it's not God's name, they went with what's popular, then really, who are Jehovah's Witnesses? I mean, think about it. Who are they?
Well, they're not a corporation or a company.
And if they admit that the name Jehovah is just one that, they went because it's popular, then the individual Jehovah Witness is really a nothing.
And when you
think about it.
And when you read that scripture in context, it's actually talking about Jesus.
Yeah. So Jehovah's Witnesses, stop and think. That name Jehovah's Witnesses is really a fraudulent name, because even your governing body member, Jeffrey Jackson, states, well, we just went with what was popular. There's nothing behind a name that's popular, especially if you try to put it to Almighty God.
That's true.
They don't stop and think. They just don't think. A lot of other groups don't stop and think about what's really in front of them any more than the Jehovah's Witnesses stop and think about the whole blood issue.
Yeah, and that's what we're gonna mention now. I want to thank our dear friend and source very much. Thank you, sweetie, for sending us this. I have the bond volume. This is the 2000 Awake. And he sent me the link also to the Advocates for Jehovah Witness Reform on Blood website. It is the ajwrb.org website, and I'm going to put the link down below because they have done an excellent article about this awake. Bloodless medicine and surgery.
I chuckle because I know it's coming.
Wait for it.
That's right.
The Watchtower's medical expert. Yes, once again, one of their experts has been exposed. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, the expert. You know, I wonder how many Jehovah's Witnesses, especially those in the hospital liaison committees, know this. And if they do, then doesn't that make them liable?
Especially if someone died. Now, what is so sad is the Jehovah's Witnesses are relying on Watchtower for all of this bloodless surgery information. You can go to jw.org. They have videos, some specially made for the medical community.
Exactly.
And so, you know, as a Jehovah's Witness, they rely heavily on the Watchtower and their hospital liaison committee and all of this information to try to save their lives without a blood transfusion. And so it's really disturbing when something like this comes to light, doesn't it? So here on page 7, there's a box. You see this guy right here? Dr. Jehoiachim Bolt, professor of anesthesiology in Germany. Now, this article quotes him, and I'm just going to read it right from the magazine. Bloodless surgery is not only for Jehovah's Witnesses, but for all patients. I think that every doctor should be engaged in it. So here's another one of Watchtower's expert doctors, and they have a whole history of using quacks.
Yeah.
Which goes all the way back to Russell and Rutherford's time period. And the reason I use the word quacks, I do not use that word lightly, is because they have promoted and been behind doctors, you know, so-called doctors. Look back at their radionics machine. You know, they were behind that doctor and all of that. And it's like, oh my goodness. But this website here, the Advocates for Jehovah's Witness Reform on Blood, they have some interesting points they brought out. And this article is very well researched and referenced. Underneath the Dr. Bolt's picture, it says, it is clear that the use of hydroxyethyl starch adds extra risk to the patient, and that this added risk was known for many years. And then, like the third paragraph from the bottom, it says the Hospital Information Services of the Watchtower Society has been irresponsible in promoting a medical procedure that places an at-risk population in a position of further risk. The JW population does not have the safety net of a blood transfusion to compensate for the risk of increased bleeding when hydroxyethyl hydroxyethyl starches are used, and yet the Watchtower fails to alert the JWs to this added risk. They're not going to tell them. They're going to go in there and sound like an authority, like they know what they're talking about.
Which makes them liable, doesn't it?
Yeah, because it's going back to the articles. It's not only has the Watchtower Society advocated for the use of a blood alternative that has added risk, they have also endorsed Dr. Jehoiachim Bolt, a questionable medical researcher in the field of bloodless medicine. Dr. Bolt, the physician featured in the Awake magazine, conducted medical research on patients without ethical approval and then falsified the data in order to promote an alternative to blood transfusions.
Look, I just have to chuckle because what does it say down here in this article? Falsified the data in order to promote an alternative to blood transfusion. Falsified the data. Falsified their steros, the cross, the anti-cross doctrine. Somebody at Watchtower had to sit down and read the Imperial Bible Dictionary regarding the cross. And then sit down and take out what Watchtower did not want or does not want Jehovah's Witnesses to know. So that's why they put the ellipsis ... They falsified. They lied. They're doing it here, and it's costing Jehovah's Witnesses their lives. All in the name of a God that doesn't exist.
The last paragraph here on the article, promoting notorious medical pretenders is not something new for the Watchtower Society. Dr. Jehoiachim Bolt's name will go down in Watchtower history alongside other notable quack doctors. I'm glad I'm not the only one that used the word quack. For the Watchtower Society is endorsed over the years, such as Albert Abrams, George Starr, White, Charles Betts, and Bernard McFadden. And I'm sure one of those was the doctor behind the radionics machine.
Now remember, during the Australian Royal Commission, then they had a psychologist, Dr. Applewhite, and she was debunked right there.
Yeah.
These people associated with Watchtower absolutely have no scruples. All they give a damn about is making money. That's all they care about. If you Jehovah's Witnesses die, they don't give a crap. Because, you know, the alternative is, well, they died faithful, so they'll be in the new system. The new system that just never seems to come. Does it, Jehovah's Witnesses?
Now, I'm also going to put the link down below to the sciencemagazine.org because it was on there too. So it's not just this website saying this doctor is a quack. It's actually in the Science Magazine. And I know you won't be able to read the whole thing unless you're a member or pay for the article, but I'm just going to read the summary they have on here. The title is A Scientist's Fraudulent Studies Puts Patients at Risk. In biomedical science, most papers that lead to retractions don't threaten anyone's life. But a troubling exception arose after investigators found fabrication and other misconduct in nearly 100 papers co-authored by German anesthesiologist Joachim Bolt. Many of those studies supported the effectiveness of intravenous solutions containing hydroxyethyl starch or hetastarch to stabilize the blood pressure of patients during and after surgery or trauma. UK medical societies relied on 4 of Bolt's papers in issuing guidelines about the treatments. Many patients may have been put at risk by his findings. A meta-analysis that excluded them found that such fluids posed modest but statistically significantly greater risk of kidney damage and death. And it's just sad that if any Jehovah's Witnesses relied on this medical information and died from this, then that makes Watchtower blood guilty.
Well, it also leaves Watchtower open for other lawsuits because there is no statute of limitations on murder. Think about it. Think about it, friends. When you become guinea pigs to the Watchtower Babel Crap Society using fraudulent research, using quack doctors, you just might have something that you can go back and sue Watchtower for. Here's the thing. A lot of times when you hear that somebody has died on an operating table due to complications, usually it's from blood transfusions or this type of quackery right here. Because the medical profession realizes this guy's science is faulty. But they're practicing on you, Jehovah's Witnesses, because you're dumb enough to let Watchtower make you believe you're doing this all for the name of a God that's just a popular name. That's all it is. Just a popular name.
Well, several years ago, we did a couple of videos, and one was called, Is Watchtower in the Hospital Business? I would recommend going back and watching that. And if I can find them, I will put the link down below. And there was another one where Jehovah's Witnesses were being used for lab rats.
That's right.
And there was documents for that also. So this isn't the first time that they use Jehovah's Witnesses as guinea pigs because they know, well, they're going to die anyway if they don't have blood. So might as well try this procedure, even if it's questionable. See, and watch, the witnesses are so desperate to stay alive but still abide by the no blood transfusion that they will try anything. They will try anything. So
it's sad. It's sad, Jehovah's Witnesses, that the evidence is right here and you turn your back to it. You'd rather die for the name of a God that's only popular than to step back and recognize exactly who and what this organization is.
yeah, exactly.
It's sad. It's truly, truly sad.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you everyone for watching, and we hope you have a wonderful weekend.
Bye.
Hello, everybody.
Howdy.
So you ready to go to work and do an expose on Watchtower?
Isn't that what we've been doing?
Well, yeah, I just wanted to make sure you're ready.
Oh, well, I don't know about ready, but here I am.
Okay, you got your tea.
I got my tea.
Got your thinking cap on.
I can only assume so.
Blood pressure is okay.
Oh, that's been taken care of. And my hair is even in a ponytail, so it's not going to be waving all
All
over
right.
the place.
We've got an expose here, and I want to thank, there were several people behind the scenes that helped put this together. And so I'll give a little bit of background on that. Our dear friend Atlantis sent us a link to the Englewood Hospital in New Jersey. And it was interesting because the link he sent me was the managed care for this hospital under their patient and visitors insurance information. And when you scroll down to the bottom, one of the plans that they cover is the Religious Order of Jehovah's Witness Healthcare Support Watchtower.
Yes. And I think down below you're going to put a couple links to a couple of news items relating to all of this.
Yeah, there's a couple of YouTube videos that I'm going to put the link to down below. Now, I'm also going to put the link to our website because I'm going to put all of this information on our website, so you have kind of like a one-stop expose.
Yeah, and I don't know if we're going to get into it now a little bit later, but when you listen attentively to these news broadcasts, this is something that Jehovah's Witnesses do not hear. They think, oh wow, this hospital's catering to our needs and everything else. And when you listen to this
Sherry Ozawa
in one of these news exposés, while they're talking about how great it is that we're exploring these bloodless surgeries for Jehovah's Witnesses and all this kind of stuff, what you miss is one of the most important things. While you are being guided into thinking that this hospital is catering to the needs of Jehovah's Witnesses, listen to what she says. In one of these broadcasts, she also endorses the donating of blood and said that it's great for the community to do this. Now you have hypocrisy, Jehovah's Witnesses. It's no different than you not being allowed to go to a YMCA to use the health benefits of pumping iron or swimming or whatever, and yet Watchtower says you can't go to that facility because it's owned by another religious order. Now I'm saying by means of hypocrisy and contradiction, you can't go to this hospital because right from the words of this Sherry Ottawa, she's endorsing donating blood. There's your hypocrisy. You can't have one without the other, Jehovah's Witnesses. And also remember too, she also talks about blood transfusions as being a liquid organ transplant. So if you can accept other means of transplants, kidneys, livers, whatever, as being a conscience matter, since she has termed this as a liquid organ transplant, then this should also become a conscience matter. And I find it interesting too, Kim, that in all of this, when she's endorsing the whole Jehovah Witness philosophy, not once does she mention blood fractions as being a conscience matter. So there's a lot here, Jehovah's Witnesses, that you're still not being told while you're listening to all of this thinking, oh, what a blessing from Jehovah. Really? So, my goodness, the whole question becomes is that while you're being fed a line of crap from Watchtower, thinking that this is a blessing from God, you're not hearing what's truly being said. This same hospital endorses the donating of blood. And the whole argument truly becomes, if you listen with a keen ear, Jehovah's Witnesses, this whole blood issue isn't about saving lives, whether it's scripturally right or wrong. You even hear this woman say that it's the most blood is the most wasted product, and it's overused. So this hospital truly may appear to be working with Jehovah's Witnesses in their whole religious philosophy, but the bottom line becomes it's a wasted product. So they're actually teaching their doctors to be able to do these surgeries without wasting such a precious product. And there's your whole hypocrisy right there. It's not about saving human lives, it's about saving the almighty dollar.
Well, it's interesting that she even talks about recycling your blood, or I believe, I forget the term, but that was one of the options when I had my hysterectomy, was they like vacuum up your blood if you start losing a lot of it, and they clean it up, recycle it, and infuse it back in. And I know that's a conscience matter, but most witnesses would not allow this because once the blood leaves the body, that's it.
But now ask a Jehovah Witness if you can, before surgery, go and donate your own blood. The Jehovah Witness is going to say no, because old Watchtower thinking was that once it touches the air, it becomes contaminated. The air kills the viability or the usefulness of the blood. But now my counter-argument is when that blood is taken from your body and it's put into a sterile bag that has no air, the air is not touching the blood. So there is no way that the usefulness of your own blood pre-surgery and donating it, did that come out? No, you just lose your argument when it comes to that point.
Well, the blood recycling system. It vacuums it up from your body, cleans it up, and puts it back in. It's a closed system. So, that should be okay.
But so is donating your own blood, because it's in a closed system, isn't it?
You would think.
You would think. But see, now a Jehovah's Witness is going to sit there and argue, well, there's no guarantee that you're going to get your own blood. Do you know what liability the hospital would put themselves in by not giving you back your own blood? And you found out? You could sue their asses off and put a place like this Englewood Hospital right completely out of business. So there's still a lot of things here, Jehovah's Witnesses, that you're not contemplating, because you're stuck on one thing and one thing only. It was against God's law to eat blood. That law only pertained to animal blood, not human blood.
Yes. Okay, now getting on with the expose here.
Yeah, I'm done with my rant.
Well, good. So I sent this information also to Deep Throat, and he came back with a bunch of research, and the three of us, started looking into this, and this was interesting because it just turned into a whole spider web of all kinds of stuff, let me tell you. Now, Deep Throat found a link to this same hospital's website under their medical services, the bloodless products. Yeah, they even sell these products for witnesses, like keychains that is like a copy of your medical directive.
Well, see, they're now that they have all these things specifically for Jehovah's Witnesses, that helps defer some of the costs of, the expense of doing bloodless surgery now.
Yeah, I mean, you can buy kits and everything else, so it's like, my goodness. So
they're in the business for making
there's
money.
a lot on our website with a lot of links, and you just have to click on those. And like I said, there's videos here, so let's get into this actual expose here for the Englewood. And is there connection with Watchtower? That was the biggest question. And in my personal opinion, oh, hell yeah, there is. Okay, so Deep Throat sent us this. It says the hospital is a Watchtower project, if not an outright with Watchtower business. And we're going to show that. The founding director, Sherry Ozawa, is a JW. Richard Melseth is an HLC heavy hitter in Phoenix, Arizona. And Ronald Lino is a JW and Watchtower representative. And then he says, see the attached document I compiled. Now I'm going to put the link to that PDF on our website also. And it's interesting when you start getting into this stuff, because it's Sherry Ozawa. Like he says, he does say she is a JW.
Now, isn't it funny that the same Sherry Ozawa in that news conference endorses the donating of blood, and it's very helpful to the community?
Interesting.
There's your hypocrisy.
Yeah, so she is the founding member and assistant secretary treasurer of this Englewood Hospital Medical Center, advancement of blood management program. And then this Richard Melseth, he's in it, and he's got all kinds of projects going on. And I find it interesting that right here, Deep Throat has another list of other names involved. And he's got Dale Black highlighted because we all know.
Dale Black.
Yeah, we all knew that whole entire family. They were from our area.
Yeah.
So I digress. Going on. But it's interesting that he is one of the team members. I know he was a butt kisser. $4.6 million to develop bloodless medicine. So they're not doing this out of the goodness of their heart or for the Jehovah's Witness patients.
Right. There's an ulterior motive.
Englewood Hospital Medical Center will receive nearly $4.7 million in federal funding to train military and civilian physicians in bloodless surgery and other medical procedures. Interesting. It even gets more interesting. Englewood Hospital is truly a national leader in this field and therefore worthy of being funded by the Defense Department to teach the entire U.S. military about bloodless medicine. Funded by the Defense Department. Oops, Watchtower, busted.
Well, that's the thing. I remember reading somewhere, and I forget which source I was reading, but all hospitals in the United States in particular are owned by the United States military.
Yeah.
And this right here is here you've got this, alleged Jehovah Witness. Not only is she endorsing donating blood, now she's also part of an organization whose funding comes from the United States Defense Department. So again, why is it wrong to go to the YMCA to use their facilities if they're funded by a Catholic church or any other church? And yet, here you've got Jehovah's Witnesses working hand in hand with a hospital that's encouraged donating blood and now is financed by the U.S. Defense Department. I mean, it's hypocrisy all the way around.
Before I go on here, I just want to make a comment that it's truly sad that many, many Jehovah's Witnesses will not do any research like this. They want to keep their head in the sand, and even if you bring this out to them, they say, oh, you apostates lie. This is not true. Even when you have the links and the information, they will not go look it up themselves. They just want to call us liars and slanderers and tell us they can't wait till we die at Armageddon. And it's truly sad that they do not know all that Watchtower is involved in and the hypocrisy.
Yeah.
Going on here, Rothman, a member of the House Appropriations Defense Subcommittee, says, I'm very proud we were able to get this included in the defense budget. And for those of you who are not in the United States here, when they say defense budget, that is the military defense budget. Not only saving lives and help alleviate suffering for our military personnel and veterans, but also saving federal tax dollars. So you see, this just became a huge spider web. Now you see why it took all of us, so long to investigate this. For example, they're talking about patients with low blood counts and who don't need to be automatically transfused and have anemia. A patient's blood can be collected during surgery, cleansed, and reinfused. And we were talking earlier about that. Yeah. And how, a lot of witnesses will not do this. It's against their conscience to do this. Okay, now we're going to get into this Ron Travaglino. He has been appointed assistant director of the New Jersey Institute for the Advancement of Bloodless Medicine and Surgery at Englewood Hospital Medical Center. Until recently, was a manager of the Bloodless Medicine and Surgery at Bridgeport Hospital in Connecticut. Mr. T became professionally involved in healthcare while working in emergency medical services for the New Haven, Connecticut Fire Service. In 1977, Watchtower, the worldwide Jehovah's Witness headquarters, enlisted him to help find doctors who would respect the beliefs of their congregants to provide medical care without pressing them to accept blood transfusions. A decade later, as a member of Watchtower's Hospital Liaison Committee for Jehovah's Witnesses in New Haven, Connecticut, Mr. T worked with area hospitals to start bloodless centers. So this isn't the only one. Now what's interesting is we know that those in the hospital liaison are Jehovah's Witnesses.
Well, yeah, but isn't it funny? Now, here's the thing. Here's a business opportunity for Watchtower.
Oh, yeah.
In 1977, Watchtower, the worldwide Jehovah's Witness headquarters, enlisted Mr. T to help find doctors who would respect the beliefs of their congregants to provide medical care without pressing them into pressing them to accept blood transfusion. A decade later, a member of the Watchtower's Hospital Liaison Committee for Jehovah's Witnesses in New Haven, Connecticut, Mr. T worked with area hospitals to start bloodless centers.
Yeah.
See, Watchtower has got your dedicated funds that are supposed to be going to the preaching work of God's kingdom. They're taking those funds and starting bloodless centers.
And the thing is Josh, our friend who's having the Bible study with a Jehovah Witness, he even asked the conductor,
right.
The JW, how come you guys don't do hospitals? And this JW emphatically said, because we have a more important life-saving work. And this goes along with Jehovah's Witnesses don't even know what their own organization is doing. So I forwarded all this stuff to Josh so he can show his JW,
Bible study conductor that, hey, Jehovah's Witnesses you do have your fingers into the hospital community.
Yeah.
Because, see, you've even started bloodless centers.
Yeah. So this Mr. T became professionally involved in healthcare. Okay, we already read that. Okay, is pleased to be a member of such a prestigious program. I'm sure it pays pretty well.
I'm sure he's getting paid a pretty penny.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, like I said, I recommend you all. Now we all know Dr. Cooley because everybody in Arizona used to go. I believe he was in Texas, if I remember right, back in the old days. And he's mentioned in this document. And so, like I said, just go through, and read the PDFs and watch these videos. Very interesting. And like I said, I will put a link down below to both videos and our website article on this expose, and it will have all the links in it. Just click on it. It just takes you a little bit to go through and read everything.
Yeah, and
videos.
just listen to these interviews with a discerning ear. Because here they are, here's this news thing trying to make Jehovah's Witnesses look like they're at the forefront of doing all of this, and it's done specifically for Jehovah's Witnesses, and it's not. It's done specifically because blood, to quote her, is the most wasted product. It's overused. So they're trying to save money. It's truly not about the religious convictions of a satanic cult like Jehovah's Witnesses who demand a human sacrifice. It's done because it's the most wasted product and it's overused. And this same Sherry, in one of these interviews, is endorsing donating blood in the community because it's very helpful. So there they are, just like the snake, speaking with a forked tongue.
Yep, exactly.
And there's the hypocrisy exposed once again for the Watchtower Babble Crap Society.
Yep. So thank you so much, everybody, for helping with the research in this. Love you guys. And thank you for watching. And